leaving. No, fuck.
No.
No, I'm forced to get on the freeway. Fuck.
Oh.
So we're out here in LA, the teachers strike, LAUSD, right? So can you let us know a little bit about why you're out here today?
I think the main thing that we would like the community to know is that our number one priority for this strike and for getting a new contract is not a salary increase. There's so much more to it than that. We're fighting for smaller class sizes. There's so much overcrowding. Schools, unless they can individually afford it or fundraise somehow, we're down to maybe a nurse a day. Counselors manage way too much caseloads. We need school psychologists. I think the most recent offer guaranteed one per campus for a year. Our students need more than a year. They need a lot of services, and there's so much pressure for, increased test scores and things like that, but we need to take care of the whole child, and that's really what we want. We want all the services that our students need so they can thrive at school. And we want respect, first and foremost. Our district is not making their students and the teachers who are here because we want to be here, because we love our students and we love our community, and they need to help us out so much more so than they have been.
Thank you so much. What's your name?
My name is Erica Casillas.
Erica, what school do you work?
I'm at Pacific Boulevard School in Huntington Park.
So it looks like everyone's starting to leave the main protest point where they were. We saw huge crowds of people standing. Everyone's kind of leaving now. The plan is for the teachers to leave that central location. And by the time school gets out at around 2, the plan is for all of the teachers to be at their individual schools so that they can protest as the students get out of school. So we're trying to talk to some teachers while they're leaving this central location right now. Hi, would either of you be interested in being on camera to talk about the strike?
No, that's the guy. Not me.
No?
The decent ladies here. Oh, you want to be on camera? Sadiq?
Sadiq does.
Sadiq's good. It's a good speaker. You're a good speaker.
Would you want to be on camera? This is for YouTube. We're a production company.
Oh, okay.
Trying to capture footage of the strike and everything.
So what'd you say?
Could I ask you a few questions on camera?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we're rolling.
All right. So your name's Sadiq?
Faisal Sadiq.
Faisal Sadiq. So what is your relation to this teacher strike?
I'm a high school English teacher in the Los Angeles Unified School District.
Okay. So in your own wording, why are you here today?
I'm here for various reasons, including better pay and to ask for a limit on charter schools, which are corporate privatizing entities trying to take over public education. So those are my primary reasons.
Okay, so I did hear a lot about charter schools and how a lot of parents are moving their children to charter schools because they're given more funding. So are they funded? Who are they funded by?
They're basically funded by the state. They're stealing money from our district in the pretense of a better education. And they're calling it a public education, but they're denying access to students. And public education is a right for all students, not just certain students that they choose and cherry pick to accept at their campuses.
Do you know what the process is like for accepting at charter schools?
No behavior records. So students that are deemed to be difficult will be denied entry and admission to these charter schools, primarily.
Okay. And how long has this been going on for? I mean, this is something for me and for a lot of other people who aren't in the school system, who don't work in the school system, have been unaware of. Like up until today, I didn't even know what a charter school was. So, I mean, has this been going on for a while?
Well, back in the 90s, the fight was for people to have school vouchers, to take money away from education for school vouchers. And now this is basically a new twist on the privatization of public education, taking money away from public education for basically now private schools co-locating and taking over space on public campuses.
Okay, my last question to you. Sorry if I'm getting too going too much in one direction here, but what is the benefit for this entire process? I mean, what is the benefit of moving the entire system to a charter school system and providing more funding to charter schools versus public schools?
The benefit for them is they get to pay their teachers less. Okay, the teachers mostly don't have unions, so that's the benefit for them. In the name of a better education. Okay, so all these teachers cherish these protections guaranteed by our collective bargaining agreement and being in a union. And charter school teachers don't have that. So the benefit for them is to say we're a better school, and they're paying their teachers less. And they have a high turnover rate, up to 50%. So there's no incentive for a good teacher to remain at a charter school, because those teachers want to go to a school where they can have these union protections.
I see. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good one. All right. So you're not only out here as a teacher in the school district, but your children are part of the school system as well.
Yes.
And so this isn't just a protest for you as a teacher. It's a protest for your children and for the students.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on how it's for them?
Class size directly affects all students, teachers, and parents. We fought years ago for the 24-to-1. Actually, we were fighting for 20-to-1, and we agreed to 24-to-1. But the parts of the contract where they able to get around class size are usually exercised, and we're just looking for them to stop having ways of getting around class size caps.
What is that part that they're able to get around the contract?
Well, so that's the Article 1.5 and 1.8 that Alex Caputo-Pearl has been talking about. And if there's a given situation, they're able to increase the class size, and they have a list of different ways. And they're adding more ways, which is more possibilities for us to have more students in our classrooms, which is, they're already high. So we were supposed to be 24-to-1, but I believe the legal limit now is 27-to-1 if there are certain reasons.
I heard even in some classrooms it's like 40, 41.
Well, I'm talking about lower elementary schools.
Okay. So it depends.
In elementary schools, we can go up to 27, and then upper grades can go up to 36.
That's insane. Is it okay if I talk to one of your sons, if either of them are willing to, on camera?
Well, what would you ask him?
Like, why are you here today?
Why are you here today?
Because we need smaller class sizes, and I can't go to school. So, yeah.
Why are you here today?
I'm here to celebrate strike.
I'm here.
To strike.
I'm here to strike.
What's your name?
Leon.
Are any of your friends here today?
I don't know.
They were at the school.
What is your name?
Anitra Flynn.
Anitra Flynn. What school you're a teacher, right?
Yeah.
What school?
At Clifford Math and Technology Magnet.
What are your thoughts on the entire charter school system? I've heard a lot today from protesters and from the news that I've been watching about, charter schools are getting all of the funding now. And I mean, why do you think that is? Why do you think that system?
Yeah, that's another area that we're fighting for, is the regulation of the charter schools, for sure, because it is a big drain on the system. And a lot of people don't realize there are two different types of charter schools. There's UTLA affiliated or LAUSD affiliated charter schools, and their members are UTLA members, and they do have some of the same rules that we do. And then there are unaffiliated, and they can take all the money, and they don't have to deal with any of the regulations.
Where do they get their money?
From LAUSD, from LA Unified. It's something, they passed some kind of bill that allows them to take the money.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
These are things
regulated. Yeah,
these are things that we who aren't part of the system don't
Right.
know about.
right, exactly.
We're so ignorant about these things up until today.
Right.
I didn't even know what a charter school was.
Right. And then if you're listening to only LA Unified's side of things, it sounds like everything's fine, and and it's not. So that's why we are striking, because we need to know the truth. There's a lot of things that we need to unearth.
I see. Okay, so I know you're in a rush to go. Charter schools run on less money, but they take more money because
I don't know all the details, to be honest, to speak to it, but they don't have the same regulations. So in theory, it's like, hey, less bureaucracy is kind of how they started. I think we can use the money and do what we think we need to do. But the problem is that a lot of them can do whatever they want. And there's been a lot of news stories about corrupt people pocketing the money for themselves. And so there's a lot going on. And basically, that's the one thing. We're not saying get rid of them all. We're saying regulate them, just like we're regulated. If they're using the same money, the same pot of money, they need to be regulated just like we are.
Okay, my question to that, however, is aren't a lot of parents now enrolling their children in charter schools because they believe that their children will be getting a more quality education?
I think that's probably what the thought is, and I'm sure there are some great, LUSD affiliated charter schools that have a focus and it makes sense for your child to go there, but do the research. Are the teachers credentialed? What are the backgrounds? What's the turnover rate of the teachers there? And how much do they support the teachers?
Because it's not as regulated.
It's not as regulated, yeah.
It's not the same. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate you.
Do you know if there's still a cloud at that main central location? If there was? If there's still a cloud at that I doubt it. I think everyone dispersed because they had to go back to their school.
My name's Nicole Campos. I'm a teacher of LAUSD. And according to our UTLA president, Alex Caputo, he was not very happy that our superintendent was saying that there was only 3,000 teachers here, when in fact there were about 40 to 50,000 people, including teachers, right? So I think the outcome was good. We had a lot of people show. We love our public schools versus private schools. We don't want privatization, and we want our students to have the best education possible. I think that the money needs to be invested for our students now, because they are really the future of our nation.
They absolutely are. How has budget cuts and all of these restrictions on budgets and the classroom sizes? Give me some examples of how it's directly affected you as a teacher.
Some of the ways that it's affected teachers, including myself, is that when there's this child that's ill, there's no nurse for the children to be tended to.
You're kidding me.
No, there isn't. When I mean ill, I mean if they have a cold, and if you look at them and they look like they might be coming from a fever, we have to send them to the school office. And the secretary's really busy, and everybody in the office is busy. I think everybody's, everybody's schedule is very full. Sorry. So it's really hard, but I think as teachers, I don't know how we do it, but we get it done. We have to help the students. If they're ill, we have to stop what we're doing and help them.
So my question about that is, does that mean that we're cutting positions out of the school system? So no more nurses, no more librarians. You as a teacher has to take on that role?
We do take on the role. Those positions have been cut. The librarians are pretty much what they can do is very limited. Even in their actual position, they don't have a lot of funds, so they'll give us a copy of the library contract to give to the students. They're like, here, so you can make the copies, because it's not even in their budget to photocopy even the library contract. And so we feel for our students. We don't want this for them. I work at a school in South Central, 109th, where kids are in great need. They come from a lot of poverty, crime area, and so they come with a lot of problems. They need counseling service, and we do the best we can to offer it to them. But again, it's the teacher who's doing all the work. We want to help them, and we will, but we should be spending more of our time teaching to get them the best education possible.
Not juggling a million balls.
Right,
and
we do do a lot of juggling, yes. And so I'm a kindergarten teacher, and for the last couple of years, I don't know how many, at least 5, we haven't had any teacher assistants in the classroom.
Oh my gosh.
So that plays a big role. I used to be at a school where we did, but that school received a special funding, so that's why they were able to have it.
What was that funding? Is it private?
It was called KIA. I think QUIA or QIA, but it's not offered at all the schools, so you have to apply for it.
Okay. Any last final statements about today's turnout, about the protest, about how do you feel about after today? How are you going to go home feeling?
I feel like all teachers, including myself, that we need to do the work of educating the public about what's going on through social media, most likely, and through contacts, flyers. But I feel that we could do better if we were doing it more often. I think we need our union, even though we're doing this and it's great, that we need their leadership to help us teachers spread the message that if we don't do for the schools now, schools could become privatized, and that's something I think nobody wants. It all goes, the privatization goes with the wealthy people, how they want to take over countries, nations. And it's not just an issue of public education, it's an issue of whole nations. I don't know if that's clear to you, but
no, it absolutely makes sense.
But there's this big dilemma going on in lots of countries. I'm sure you followed the news that in France and Mexico and other countries, public education is being affected. Public employees are being affected. The millionaires, billionaires are trying to take over, right, the public employees. And education is a good way to do it, and I really want that to stop. I feel strongly about that.